Now, for our final session of this afternoon, we'll be discussing smart data, blue skies. And as I just mentioned, air pollution is a huge global problem. Now, for this session, I'm very happy to welcome Abhilasha Purwar, co-founder and CEO of Blue Sky Analytics. If you wish to continue watching, please make sure you are watching us through the entry stage 3 on the VivaTech digital platform. Please comment and send through any questions that you may have on the box on the right of your screen. So, hello to all of you who are just joining us for this session on fighting air pollution. We are now collected live, as I just said, with Abhilasha Purwar, I hope I pronounced your name right, co-founder and CEO of Indian startup group Blue Sky Analytics. Firstly, welcome to VivaTech. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thanks so much.
So, firstly, why did you start Blue Sky Analytics? What is at stake, in your opinion?
As a climate tech startup, which works majorly with environmental and climate data, for us, I would say it's the life of the planet and all the people, all the residents of this planet. It's not just air quality, water pollution, carbon emissions are all interlinked with each other. And as a society, we need to move to a more sustainable pathway if we want to have a living future on this planet.
So what actually started? What was the reason? Oh, in fact, we'll go on to this image. Can you see it on the screen? Are you seeing the same image as us on the screen, Abhilasha?
Yeah, I'm seeing this image. Yeah.
Right, could you just take us through it, please? Sorry, I think we've got a slight connection problem. Could you just take us through this diagram?
Yeah, so India also has a huge air pollution problem. India, China, many countries in the developing stage of their economy end up having this air pollution crisis because the governments or the traditional frameworks of economic development are all around coal and carbon power and some other issues. And we really wanted to get a better monitoring framework for our country. What we had before Blue Sky Analytics got into the game was just 250 data points, which were coming from ground monitors. And we started with overlaying satellite data on top of it. And today you have 3.3 million data points. So you can really see the innovation and the expansion that goes from 250 to 3.3 million. And we provide this data every day for all of the country, even where there are no monitors. And this information is then further parsed out to our consumers and customers and just all the users across the country.
And where are the areas that are worst affected by this?
I would say the whole North Indian belt, Delhi, UP, Bihar, all the way even to Bengal are quite adversely affected. And a large reason is that in the months of October and November, we have huge farm fires, very similar to the Californian forest fires or Amazonian fires that we witnessed. Those were more of natural sort of occurrences, while the farm fires that we have in India are more sort of man-made because there are limited ways of disposing your crop waste. And so we burn about 35 to 40 million tons of crop waste. And then you just cannot expect to have clean air after that, which is amazing because that got us into more product development. And now we do like global farm and forest fire monitoring as well.
So your work obviously involves huge amounts of data, and yet only 1% of global data is actually analyzed. Can you tell us more about what you do here to procure and how you use this data?
So actually, our core innovation lies in being able to analyze data more efficiently, more optimally, do it very fast, do it in a replicable, scalable manner, and save costs. A lot of these things of like cloud and AI and machine learning and APIs were simply not available for like usage the way we can use now 5 years ago. So that is the core of our work. You can actually pull a diagram on this. And I would give a parallel with oil refinery. So just like you have crude oil, which comes on one end, and that crude oil is then further processed in a refinery and then goes across as gasoline or nylon or polyester across the world. Our whole thing was that we wanted to take a spin on the carbon economy produced by oil with a data economy and make it a clean energy or a sustainable ecosystem through a data economy. And thereby we take data from satellites, lots of ground sensors. We are doing this effort for overall the entire planet, even outside India now. And then we have multiple processes within the sort of tech architecture, many of which we have optimized a lot and are constantly upgrading. And then we deliver these data sets through these clean, accessible APIs to a lot of customers.
Who are your clients and partners?
So we have signed up some of the leading news agencies in India and are looking to work with news agencies across the world because we really think that climate reporting will also increase a lot as we go further into 2022 or 2020s. And we have like an increasing awareness around climate. We work with insurance companies, banks, credit rating agencies, large consulting groups. A lot of consumer product companies, phone companies. So we have consumers across the spectrum, but also our data is always available for students and researchers and just individual users at a highly subsidized price to be able to give this information out more to the world and enable everyone.
So, did you notice any kind of profound changes in the data you gathered during the pandemic, for example, where we all, I think, around the world noticed a real air pollution was greatly reduced during this time?
Yes, so definitely, I think we did notice that large parts of India were had very high air quality during the first lockdown. However, because forest fires or farm fires, in our case, still as a phenomena occurred, and in 2019, I think the Australian forest fires had emissions which were similar to 100 countries or greater than 100 countries combined. So there are a lot of natural sort of increasingly more catastrophic natural events that are happening because of global warming, but still affect some of these air pollution challenges.
So you're implying that maybe air pollution by transport is less serious than farm and forest fires?
It's not about serious. It depends on region to region and day to day. So, for instance, in certain months in India, and certain geographies, not entire India, let's say Bangalore gets affected majorly by just poor transportation, sort of infrastructure, and poor vehicle inventory, while Delhi gets affected more by farm fires. And then there are some regions which get affected more by coal power plants. It really depends on region to region.
So did things get better with remote work? I mean, is that a common thing in the country that the countries that you deal in?
Yes, I think I am really excited by remote work, and I feel it has the potential to really change the world and also make, sort a lot of climate and sustainable problems. So our entire team is remote, and soon after pandemic, we call ourselves sort of COVID babies because we were just 2 years old when the pandemic hit us as a startup, and we had to adapt really quickly. So our entire team moved to geographies with, cleaner air, lower rents, and there was no commute, no transportation. So everybody really saved on a lot of carbon emissions and a lot of money while having higher productivity, higher quality of life. I'm myself in Dominican Republic right now because I wanted to come and see a friend of mine here and also like understand the Caribbean economy and maybe figure out in some ways that Blue Sky Analytics could potentially help Caribbean countries in environmental monitoring, climate risk management. And that would not be possible if we were in this old framework that we all have to work from office while we're all working from our laptops, right? So I think remote working in the next 10 years will make a lot of change in the world.
Fantastic. Blue Sky Analytics started working on air quality, but better environmental intelligence can impact a wide range of sectors and issues. Can you tell us more about your other initiatives, for example, Zuri, and how they will impact urban areas?
So Zuri is actually a product within Blue Sky Analytics. We started first as a company, because I'm a first-time founder. We were babies. We did not know what all we can do and what all we can achieve. So we started small, and we were like, let's monitor air quality for India. And a lot of people at that time were like, no, Abby, you cannot do that. But we just, worked hard and got the data set out in about a year since after we started. Zuri is the second data set we produced, which almost took just 6 months, after our first data set. So it was much quicker and faster, like progression, and that monitors forest and farm fires across the globe. So we are able to capture emissions and land area burned, and also do certain predictions around, probabilities of fires in some areas in the next week and things like that. It's almost launched. We are working in sort of data validation and cleaning phase just to make sure that all the numbers are solid and robust, and there is no errors anywhere. And then we hope to we hope that this data set would enable geographies like California and Amazon and Australia and Siberia, which are facing this risk a lot. Even in India, some of our forests are also at great threat. So this will allow homeowners and government agencies and weather reporting, or even like the first responders, to be able to tackle this situation better.
Okay, now I've got quite a few questions for you from the audience. So right now we'll move on to the questions and answer session.
Sure.
Right. Oops. Sorry, I'm just going to get my questions up. My first question for you is from Rim. Do you think that the essence of your project is something that is well appreciated or encouraged by the emerging countries?
I think not just emerging countries. This is a sector which is still emerging in the global market, even in the developed countries. There is a huge demand for this kind of data. There's a huge willingness to pay as well. But what happens, I think, and this is a challenge that all startups face, there is a branding or PR challenge that climate tech startups face a little more, which is access to capital. Just the other day, I was calculating that around 12 companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola and ExxonMobil and Dow and DuPont, which produce most amount of plastic, most amount of carbon emissions, have a total market cap of $3.6 trillion. And I think they employ about 4.2 lakh people. So these 12 countries, while that is a market cap, that is a GDP of entire Latin America and about 800 million people who live there. And that is greater than GDP of entire India. So sometimes, access to capital to very polluting industries is so high, that they have multi-billions of dollars on their balance sheet, on their and their war chest. While for startups which are trying to make this attempt to take our planet in a more sustainable direction, there is a lot of perceived risk that you will not be able to commercialize, you will not be able to make your products economic and get them in the hands of everybody. I think my answer to all of that is that you are deploying $3.2 trillion for producing plastic and high amounts of carbon emissions. Give it a shot to deploy 300 billion or even like 3.2 billion to startups which are trying to do the opposite. And we'll make sure that capital moves automatically to the climate tech and more sustainable ecosystem, because we will deliver performance. We will show how we can actually build a world which is low carbon, which is very respectful of our environment, whether it's by data, whether it's by other business models. So I feel it's all going to change. There are many very cool startups across the world, including some of our friends who are doing something like that. And they're all moving the needle on this. And the time for climate tech startups is this decade.
Are you just in India now, or will you be expanding?
No, we already expanded last year. We are pretty global. We have team members in the US and in India. We are looking to expand out in Europe as well, and have team members in Netherlands, Amsterdam specifically, and also have certain presence in Middle Eastern and North African region, because they also have really high climate risk and some of those things. And actually being a remote company allows us to do all of it, because we are just looking to add really smart and very driven human capital to our team, and then work from across the planet to save the planet.
How is AI helping your solution?
So AI is sort of core to what we do, right? I mean, last year we analyzed about 27 terabytes of data. And in the coming year, we hope to expand it out to 200 terabytes. So you have this like huge volume of data that you're playing around with. And it's not humanly possible, even with some of the older softwares, to be able to do something. So, in the previous era, pre-AI, what would happen is that there'll be more engineers and more data scientists or more data engineers working on it, or more scientists, and they will do this kind of analysis for one geography, one time. So let's say for France for 3 years, because you need so much computational capacity, and then you need to automatize most of that computation. What AI allows us is to do for a 2-year-old startup, and most of the people on our team actually are between the age of 20 to 30. So these young engineers sitting on a beach or a mountain in India to be able to like leverage all of the computing power and deliver, this clean out this heavy volume of data and deliver parameters to the final users. So AI is a very key tool for us. I think it's one aspect. Now that we've understood how to use AI, how to build it, me and my co-founder are really excited about it. So hopefully, actually, maybe post Blue Sky, we will do some more cool projects on AI.
Wow, fantastic. Well, thank you very, very much for sharing your insight and talking about Blue Sky Analytics with us.